Good afternoon, guys. Just a quick recap of the game. A lot of things on tape. Very encouraging tape for our whole football team to watch. A lot of things we emphasized last week, what we thought it would take to win the game, showed up. In many ways, times X of just showing up. Thought our leaders of our team would kind of drive where things would go for the whole week, and they did that from start of the week, coming off of last week's opportunity that we did not play well and we didn't coach well enough, play well enough. I thought our whole team kind of responded the right way, and we saw what it could look like. Still, like I mentioned after the game, I think the penalties, we got to continue to work to rectify that regardless of the moving parts of who's in and new center, new quarterback, or, CD getting his first opportunity. Still think we've got to, find a way to eliminate those, and we'll be able to have even more of a rhythm on offense. But there's some great performance in the kicking game, both our punter and kicker, and also just some individual players in the coverage and blocking phase. And then defensively was clearly a fantastic effort all the way around. Just giving you guys an update. Don't really have an update on Hargrave. He came out, sore, but in a good spot. Should be able to work through the week and be available. And then one just addition, Ben Urosic, came out with a knee contusion. Thought he did a great job battling through it throughout the game, especially when we started pulling some guys there with quite a bit of the football game left. We'll see how his week goes. We do have Nick Vanette on the roster as well right now, so we'll be in good shape at that position. And then lastly, wanted to update you guys on Donovan Jackson. He suffered a wrist injury against Atlanta that was deemed to be something that would require surgery. He did have that this morning in Los Angeles as part of a planned surgery. It was determined last week that he could play in the football game and not do any further harm. And just want to first and foremost highlight a young player who played a fantastic football game, but to do it in those circumstances and be willing to, without any hesitation, be out there with his team. We're already down some guys in the interior who will return this week, but I thought Donovan was fantastic on the field, and just what that means within the standing amongst the locker room and his teammates, just fantastic. So he will be able to, this is not a short-term IR thing, this is a procedure that, like I said, successfully took place this morning, and we're hoping to be able to use the bye, part of that timeline to have Donovan back as soon as possible. But he's off to a great start in his career, everything we hoped he would be. And yesterday was, a big-time day for so many layers for him as a young player, showing his toughness, showing his commitment, and being a huge part of our ability to not only run the football but just be effective on offense yesterday. So moving forward to this week, great opportunity for us over these next few days to have really good preparation before we leave Thursday evening. We'll handle this game very similar to how we've handled our international trips the last two times we've went to London to play. We'll just be going to Dublin for the first game, and then we will be able to have a normal game week from there once we transition from Dublin to London. And so really looking at it as a two-part trip that all of us here, players, coaches, staff, the great resources that we do have to help put together trips like this. I am looking at it as a phenomenal opportunity for a lot of reasons for our team to continue to gel together and bond. This is a close-knit group, but my expectation is you go on a little field trip for 10 days, you got a great opportunity to keep growing together. And I think we've learned here, dealing with some adversity either in-game versus Chicago and finding a way to win, and then the demonstration of being able to come back and play like that the way we should play at home in front of our great fans. They were phenomenal, but the adversity of the week 2 disappointment and handling it the right way and coming back and playing well. So the growth of this team early on in the season is evident to me, and now we've got to start, like we talked about post-game yesterday. Now it's just about the consistency of understanding what it's got to be like from the practice field to the game.
Kevin, it sounds like you're optimistic about Ryan Kelly.
Optimistic about Ryan and School. Both those guys are kind of they were able to get some limited work on Friday, which then allows them to clear any last few hurdles here medically, before, hopefully long before Wednesday's practice rolls around, and they should have somewhat of a normal week of preparation and be available.
Kevin, the numbers had Carson getting rid of the ball in about 2.5 seconds. Just what do you think was working for him in terms of getting rid of the ball quickly?
Yeah, I thought going back over the tape, it felt like it in the game, but I thought he was very sharp fundamentally. And there was quite a few reps where the ground is the quarterback's friend from a standpoint of keeping your foundation or your base, balance and body position in the ground, and so you can make quick decisions. I thought he progressed multiple times. I thought he threw with anticipation. I thought he really once we got into the meat of the game, which can be hard sometimes, which we'll take when the defense is scoring points on the other side. But the first drive was fantastic. Then we had some kind of early, third down, third and shorter, where we had a penalty to push us back, and they were able to get us off the field. And then as the game went on, I just thought he did a really nice job of playing point guard, throwing completions, allowing guys to win. And then, when number one wasn't there, he progressed and found open players. And I thought our run game clearly was effective a lot of the game, and that was an all-11 approach. I thought the offensive line did a really nice job along the line of scrimmage, with the tight ends being a major part of it as well. And can't talk about Adam Thielen and Jalen Naylor, and really Justin Jefferson as well, showing up all over the tape. From a play style standpoint, you started to lose count of the amount of times we got an efficient run with JP finishing forward, and there were 4, 5, 6 Vikings there finishing right around the ball. To have Vikings picking up Vikings after efficient runs is only going to lead to really positive things throughout the course of the day. So, but yeah, I was really happy with the way Carson kind of maintained and continued and even grew his efficiency and how he's looked on the practice field. It showed up in the game. That's why I was not surprised in any way, shape, or form.
What did you like best about Christian Darrisaw's performance in this first game?
I just, watching it, you can see his impact. The best part of the tape was seeing after we put the ball in the end zone, running the ball from the 4-yard line on the last one, 5-yard line there late in the first half. Really kind of right behind CD and some double teams inside, Josh Oliver and TJ. So, I think it was that you could see this is a guy that's celebrating as if he had the ball in his hands, and just the joy he had to be back on the field, and the way he was able to cut it loose and play at a really high level for his first time back. Challenging opponent, clearly, really good player that he was going against on the other side, and I think he's now got kind of that last bit of confidence needed, check that box, and now CD should be in a great position moving forward. I do want to just, we're going to have a plan for CD, how the practice weeks go, that is structured, in ink of what we think is best for him to be at his best on Sundays moving forward. So I would not, read too much into any one-off days where we maybe give him a day here or there, and we're going to start getting into the point in the season where that will be the case with some other players as well. But both, CD, CD, Gink, although 8 snaps, was obviously very effective in his 8 snaps, and then Harry immediately makes his presence felt, getting a hand on a football that led to our first touchdown by Zay.
Kevin, when you have Harrison Smith back, how much does that change the defense in terms of disguises and checks?
Yeah, you guys probably felt it. The disguises, the timing of certain things, the synced up feeling of our defense all day. I thought Flo called a great game as well, and kind of, Harry being out there probably led to some of that as well. But it was a combination of Flo, the staff, and then between having Gink and Harry back for however limited it was, it just provided a sense of calm amongst the chaos they're trying to cause that is kind of part of our secret sauce on defense, and they made it come to life in an extraordinary way.
Kevin, if Donovan was cleared to play this past game, why have the surgery now?
I think my interpretation of it is an injury where you do want to get it fixed in a timely manner to enhance the ability for the success of it. And it was not really a 3 or 4 or 5 days as much as, you don't want to ask a young player to try to make a decision like that, knowing, specifically Blake will, step in and, he was he was able to seamlessly step in once CD's day had kind of wrapped up at tackle. Now Blake, hopefully with RK coming back in the middle, you've got a guy that started 18 games a year ago at that left guard spot available to come in and had a great training camp. And Blake's shown his versatility and that impact, but we want to make sure we get Donovan healthy and use the time that we have allotted to maximize as many games as we can get, hopefully with him healthy coming off of this.
So when he comes off the field gushing blood out of his nose, are you thinking, what else can go wrong up front here?
It's crazy to say this, but I was actually very relieved when I got out there and quickly saw what it was. But yeah, I like it. There's some times up here where I'm sure what I'm saying is being absorbed as coach speak, but me talking about Donovan this afternoon is not one of those times. For him to do what he did was huge for us, and win because of type of performance coupled with mentally going through the process of the week, the layers to it with how comprehensive and detailed we are with the medical staff, both in-house here, outside, evaluations and things, just making sure we were absolutely being smart about this. And, all along Donovan just had that feel where, hey, I'm playing, I can play, I'm going to play. And I'm sure he would, possibly try to fight through it and worry about everything later, but sometimes you have to do what's in the best interest, especially of a really talented young player who we have really high aspirations on for not only the present but the future.
Tracy Wolfson on CBS yesterday said that they're planning to get JJ back on the field after the bye. Is that accurate?
I would not say that's accurate. I would just say that that probably stems off the conversation of him making the trip with us, and I think what is accurate is the idea of no matter how much I believe JJ would go out there and tough it out. Today, tomorrow, if we asked him to. To me, at this point in a very young career, his mobility is one of his weapons that has clearly already shown to be something that's a positive for him. So we want to make sure he's healthy and allow this to be something that we can put in the rearview mirror and continue on with where he's at in his young career here. So, but yeah, we're going to take it a day at a time. He responded well to treatment early on. He's out of the boot, and now it just becomes the phase of high ankle kind of rehab that we're going to hopefully be able to get him get him back up to speed pretty quickly. And I think he going on the trip and being around the team, we'll only have 2 players, I believe, not make the trip, and that'll be Gavin Bartholomew and Ty Chandler, just with where they're at kind of individually, but everybody else, including Donovan, after he returns later today or tomorrow morning from Los Angeles, he will go on the trip as well.
So when JJ is healthy, are you 100% committed that he's going to be back on the field?
Yeah, I think, the first and foremost, he's got to get healthy. And then throughout that process, it's not just, I don't think it's one of those things where it's, hey, the day he's healthy, and if he's healthy the night before a game, we're going to just throw him out there and say, hey, go figure it out type of thing. I think we saw, as phenomenal as he was getting prepared for the Atlanta game, he did miss practice that week. And when you're in the phasing of building up the 10,000 reps and 10,000 hours of what it takes to play the position at a very high level, which we know J.J. McCarthy is going to do, you can't cut corners on that. And that also doesn't require an answer on that question today. I think our goal was to win a football game yesterday. We're in the day after of that. We've had our players in. We're preparing for another top-tier opponent, and I think we've got to have another really good week of preparation, and then you add on the layers to travel and making sure our players have the utmost confidence in how we're handling the trip and building it progressively throughout the week till we get another opportunity, which we're really excited about.
When you talk about Carson being able to progress quickly, how much of a quarterback's ability to do that kind of goes into that 10,000 hours, that experience that he has? decipher things quickly?
Yeah, I mean it's what allows players to play with poise and conviction, and when you couple that with firm and repeatable fundamentals, normally within the lower half of the quarterback's mechanics, you tie those things together, then you have a system, then you have rhythm, then you have the ability for. It's very difficult for a defense to take away all 5 eligibles. I thought our protection. Because the way we were able to kind of have some body blows by running the ball, I thought our protection was solid for the most part. It got loose there on a couple internal games here and there, but many of the times we stayed efficient with the chains, and we stayed efficient in some cases not having many third downs in the course of some of our scoring drives. That equals rhythm too. So it's a combination of the individual player and all 11 individual players doing their job, maybe on that 1st and 10, maybe on that 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, in some cases 2nd and 20 when you steal 15 yards back with Justin getting single covered. Sometimes it's the reactionary ability to still consistently play with the rhythm and the poise and the decision making, and all that becomes much easier when you're taking the right footwork and you're balanced throughout the drop and reading with your feet. That can be an incredible weapon for a quarterback, whether they've played 20 years or they've played 2 games. That is an incredible weapon, and I think there's value in JJ seeing that. We were talking late last night, texting and kind of just talking about the game and just kind of what he experienced, because I thought, Josh made this point multiple times, how engaged JJ was. I mean, he was he was over there with the Surface tablet with Carson, talking about some looks that maybe we hadn't prepared for. Hey, did you see this? This is probably going to be this call. And, Josh was pretty jacked up about that. And then JJ just saying, how by Carson playing in rhythm and maybe progressing quickly on some things, just how much of a point guard feel it kind of had at times. All of that is real positive from a standpoint of, that's the one thing you love about him. He's going to find positives in even a situation where he can't be on the field because of an injury currently, which is growth in my mind, whether he was out there or not.
Kevin, have you guys offensively seen more man coverage than maybe you thought you would early on?
No, and even the man coverage we have seen has come out of the 2 high alignments where there's either a interior 2nd or 3rd level helper, so people can play with leverage. There's man coverage where I've got to play right down the middle of my man because there's a 5-man pressure, or I'm not anticipating any help, and then there's layered man coverage where either it's a rolled adjusting program and they can play hard inside leverage. It's an interior double team, which we saw a couple times throughout the game, whether it's the same side safety or a far side safety. So no matter what, if you have hard outside leverage, you probably have it for a reason, because you're probably running into where the help is. And if it's inside leverage, there's probably somebody over the top. So what that requires is an elite level of technique and a release plan to try to beat the nearest defender, and then be able to have a plan for the furthest defender away. And people are changing up the looks of whether that of how those double teams kind of come. But I think in the process of that, that's where the progression of the quarterback lies. And if they're doing all those things, there's probably somebody who had to play it a little bit more straight up around the field. We saw that on there was a conversion to Jalen Naylor where, regardless of whether it's man or zone, Justin's on the opposite side of the field. TJ's working vertical, trying to win, and then, Speedy ends up winning that inside leverage late, and Carson progresses, pocket movement, completion, 1st down, and it doesn't seem overly challenging, but yet there's a lot of components to that make those things positive plays. And to me, it's about the voids, the vacancies. It's about finding not everybody on the play with how we build plays is going to have difficult leverage. So if you progress in rhythm, you're going to find that eligible with the leverage that can win. And then our guys are doing a good job winning. And we just got to trust that and keep on pairing the protection with tight fundamentals, techniques, and progressions. And then the receivers just got to keep doing their jobs, which they've been really good at. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more kind of benefit from that showing up in the stat sheet maybe than it has early on in the year.
Well, you worked Jordan Addison back in this week when his suspension was done.
Yeah, he's it's phenomenal to get him back. It was just like it was a shot of life for us to get CD Gink and Harry back. It'll be Jordan, it'll be Ryan Kelly, it'll be School being available as well. So we're, although we've had to kind of weather the storm a little bit early on, anytime you can get such impactful players back, it's critical. And I think Jordan, I know he's going to be in great shape. He's been able to be in the building and be in meetings and things to stay sharp mentally. And so now it'll just be getting him a full week of work. And you look at the way, Speedy, Jalen Naylor's been, consistently on tape, one of the guys that pops off the tape. I think Adam Thielen, although, the targets and the reception numbers might not be there, he has been wildly impactful in my mind with some of the jobs we've asked him to do, run game, helping a little bit out on the edges here and there. And then his opportunities will come. We almost had one early on in the game there where Carson tried to find him kind of off of a hard run action where he had to move up in the pocket. And we're going to have some ops like that to add him throughout the year. And now the way I look at it is with Jordan back, we really have 4 starters at that receiver position, and we'll use those guys accordingly and try to keep people fresh and make sure we're maximizing the fact that we've got really good depth at that position.
Thanks,
Thank you.